What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Activ8 Radio. And we're here to activate your mind while we entertain and educate. And I got my homeboy, John Fosco. Yeah, we're on video. Yeah, we're on audio. And we got a leak, which I think maybe everybody knows now, but that Conor McGregor is going to take a fight with Floyd Mayweather. So I think we got to start there after I tell you that this is brought to you by Reebok.
Be more human.
Be more human. John, is this a true statement that Conor McGregor is going to get in the, not octagon, but the boxing ring?
From all sources that are in the know, the answer is yes. And if you look at, I like to kind of gather data and just kind of put the pieces together without having a if you don't have a confirmation from Conor or the UFC, you don't really know. But if you look at Conor not being on UFC 200, if you look at their secret dinner in LA the other night, that was Lorenzo, Dana, and Conor being kind of tight-lipped up until the ESPN Sunday Night Conversation. There's something going on, right? Yep. Floyd Mayweather tendered a $50 million offer for Conor to fight him. Now, I think we all know Conor McGregor is money motivated. And, and $50 million will ring his bell. So Exactly. So I'm only going to assume, outside of the fact that Jalen Rose, ex-Chicago Bull at one point, Jalen Rose confirmed through friends of, the money team that it is for sure the first week of May in 2017. But I'm only to assume that Conor who went on ESPN and says business is not personal, let's not get emotional, is trying to break off the UFC a piece of that $50 million, as well as get co-promotional rights for that pay-per-view. Because let's not kid ourselves. If that pay-per-view happened, forget the fact that it's a boxing match, right? Conor will lose. But it's about the marketing oomph that will provide. And I will bet anybody that would be the most highly sold pay-per-view ever, and no one would be able to touch it. I'm going to say it would be a $5 million purchase pay-per-view, and that would completely change the game. And here, before I end what I'm saying, what I love about Conor McGregor, and I'm not the biggest fan of his style, but what I love about the way he does business is he forces, with his leverage and his position, he forces the business of MMA and of the UFC to constantly evolve based around his leverage. And that is something that nobody has been able to do.
I'll tell you that I want to believe in Santa Claus, John. I want to believe that if Conor McGregor, for 8 hours a day, maybe 10 hours a day, for 1 year, gets some Irish boxing coach we've never heard of from some grimy gym that's like Louis Simmons of Ireland.
Louis!
Right? That Conor, with just one little shadow of a doubt, could potentially really shock.
No.
Would he turn? Hold on, I'm asking you. Would he turn into Muhammad Ali if he would knock him out?
If he knocked out Floyd Mayweather, I'm going to just make the boldest statement ever. He would be the biggest star in the world. In the world.
In sport,
I don't know about ever, but if he knocked him out on May 3rd, 2017, on May 4th, 2017, he would be the biggest star in the world. But let me rain on your parade about Santa Claus and about Conor McGregor. Okay? Number one, boxing is the sweet science. You've boxed, okay?
Yes.
Boxing is like fighting in a phone booth, okay?
Yeah.
Boxing, you wear 10-ounce gloves. Boxing, you cannot use a body sideways like Conor does and throw kicks that elongate you and come at you from bizarre angles. You also can't throw punches that compromise your chin. Okay? Conor's style as a fighter relies on elongating his body and using athletic movements to hit people with a lot of kicks. Okay? Boxing Floyd Mayweather, first of all, every epic, great boxer that has fought Floyd Mayweather has lost in a boxing match.
I know, yes.
Conor McGregor is not a boxer. And I would compare it to Floyd Mayweather, like James Toney, right?
Yes.
Coming into the octagon. The same thing would happen the reverse way. So the one debate, let's not get into with anybody, and I want to stop it before it starts, is, oh, see, boxers are as tough as MMA. Dude.
It's a different whole game.
Not only is it a different game, but boxing is a sport. MMA is a fight. So an MMA fighter, if they squared off with a boxer in the street, is going to win because he's a fighter. He's not a boxer. But this is major news if it is officially confirmed. But I think if you look at all the signs, and if you just look at, you got to be so impressed with the way this kid does business, right? Not only does he go out and perform, but you always, after his fights, see the method to his mat. He always, like a businessman, like an entrepreneur, is on to the next play. He wants, once he took over the UFC game, he wants that Mayweather money. He wants that. And guess what he's doing? He is I don't want to say pushing around. He is negotiating with and getting the two hardest men to see different viewpoints in the combat sports game, Dan and Lorenzo, to see a different viewpoint. At least that's what it looks like. And that achievement alone is something, if you asked anybody 2 years ago, is that possible? They would say, dude, go jump off a bridge.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that I've heard Dana talk about it multiple times, about making fights. Like when he would speak about Pacquiao and Floyd, and they like to make fights. They like to make big fights. And so historic fights, me personally, I don't think they had a problem with this at all. Do you think?
Well, I'll say this. In 22 years of existence, they've never done it.
Yeah, which, I mean, what everybody loves is something that's different, right? And it makes a lot of money.
So here's the thing, right? This is the thing I always put out there is evidence that the UFC, they're kind of control freaks, and I understand it, that the greatest events in mixed martial arts history were the Pride Grand Prix, because essentially what they did, for those who aren't familiar, is they took the 16 top-ranked, let's say, light heavyweights in the world. Think of John Jones, think of OSP, Glover Teixeira, Anthony Johnson, think of all those guys, and they put them in a tournament bracket, like the NCAA tournament. And it was over 3 events, and as magical as that sounds, is as magical as it was. And you ask yourself, when the UFC in 2014 was struggling with pay-per-view buys, why don't they try something like that? Because that's so fresh, that would bring in so many new viewers. But you're not matchmaking. You're not controlling the matches. And the UFC have heavy investments in people. And they do not dictate the outcome, ever.
No,
but they do dictate the match.
Yeah, I think, 1, I'm excited for this. 2, I just hope it doesn't turn into a WWF type of thing, because then I think that puts everybody off.
I agree.
Where it's like that's the risk they run, that they're going to end up looking like Ric Flair. But 3, I want to believe. I know that you don't believe in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, John, but I want to believe that Conor could do something in this that make it look some type of, like, validate it just a little bit, though.
Here's the one thing I would say, Cory. If he did not get outboxed by Nate Diaz, I probably would see the light with you. He got outboxed by Nate Diaz. And for all you guys out there, Floyd Mayweather is just a little bit better of a boxer than Nate Diaz.
Well, I think that's just really good discussion. I guarantee we'll talk about this at least 10 more times between now and then. All right, next we're going to the Trump Minute. It's Trump time.
Dun, dun.
But today, it's not actually about, it's because of Donald Trump, not really about Donald Trump. So, John, go ahead.
Sure. So, Meet the Press is must-see TV for me every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 Central, with Chuck Todd on NBC. It's like the political show of the week. And this morning, Hillary Clinton was a guest. Mark Cuban was a guest. Now, before Mark Cuban was a guest, Chuck Todd, who's the host, he asked Hillary, he said, Hillary, as you're evaluating vice presidents, because Donald Trump has truly changed the political game, and she agreed, he said, would you be open to an entrepreneur or a successful business person? And she said, absolutely has Donald changed the game, and absolutely are we searching wide and far, and that includes entrepreneurs, and that includes business people. And she said, honestly, that's something that wasn't really on the table until, this kind of inflection point happened with Donald Trump. So I think what's fantastic is that, you can call Trump whatever you want. I'm not going to take a stance on him, but he is a successful businessman. Not getting into why or where or how, okay? Mark Cuban is a successful businessman, okay? What does the president of the United States do? They make deals with other countries. Are the deals financials? Yes, some of them are financial.
Some of them are.
Yeah. Are they policy-based? Yes, but they all are negotiations. Getting votes for bills is negotiations. And what a businessman and what an entrepreneur is naturally great at is bringing people together and negotiating. So I'm not saying this experiment, if Trump works, is going to win. But I'll tell you what, the political landscape is the people of America are so polarized with politicians who have talking points and do nothing, that this experiment, we're ready for it, man. And you know what? It just might work, and the entrepreneurs of this world, of this country, might save this country, because we're going down a dark path.
What I'll tell you is it's deal making constantly with countries, with nations, with commodities, with all of it. So
the Senate, the Congress, getting built. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it work? So I'd rather see some business people come in here and kick some of these suits out that are just collecting the check and just yapping. I mean, why not? A business guy like us, we would much rather see some of that going on, whether it's Democrat or Republican. It really doesn't matter. It's just the fact, like, look, entrepreneurs got they have like their thumb on the pulse of what's going on in the country, I think. So,
and here's another thing, right? These career politicians, right? There always should be term limits. I don't care if you're a senator. I don't care what position you have. Every position in politics, because it's public service, should have a term limit. Well, not all of them do. So the problem is this. These guys and these gals who are career politicians, if they don't get reelected, how are they going to get paid? Sure, some of them go to be lobbyists, but they need that position for power and for money. An entrepreneur does not need the salary of a U.S. senator, which is $172,000, or a president that's like $400,000. Okay, they don't need that, and they don't need power because they already have it. So they might actually change something. Okay,
because it's not about that cash,
right? It's about actually like here. This is what I call the healthy ego, right? It's about actually saying, I came in, and because of me, this country got back on track. Hey, that's fine. To me, that's a healthy ego. Use your skill set and say, I'm going to put the country on my back, and I'm going to show you. Great. Do it. We need it. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I'm running for mayor, John, now just because of that speech.
Well, it's funny you say that, Cory, because me, I just overtook Hillary Clinton on the Democratic side. I might be president.
But it is cool that Hillary's actually looking into that, and I think it will only benefit her campaign if she does bring a Ross Perot / Mark Cuban type of guy or gal to the team to show that she can have that. She's got to have something to play off of what Trump's got going on. So she has to almost what's that, counter move, right?
Absolutely. And here's what I encourage everybody to do. Not only vote, right? Everyone, okay, go out and vote, rock the vote. Yeah, okay, that's great. But it is. Okay, yeah. But know what the hell you're voting for. Please. Just read a little bit, not about where someone stands on a transgender person going in a bathroom, okay? Mm-hmm. Or abortion, which is law, or these divisive issues that mean shit, okay? Actually read where these people that you might vote for stand on policy. If you're working at Ace Hardware, I encourage you to find the politician that's going to raise your wage. Don't vote outside your interest because the rhetoric sounds good. Guys, that's what these politicians are masters of. They're masters of manipulating your brain on issues that are never going to happen to get your vote. Do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of research, and vote on policy. Don't vote on words. Words are hollow.
Like it. I think that's solid, John. Now it's time for the hot seat. Some fire, AJ. Fire. So, see, we have our own graphics right there.
Dude, I got a lantern next to me.
I see that, John.
Look at that.
All right. So, in the hot seat, we like to do 3 random questions that John and I do not make up before the show. We do ad lib to learn more about each other, and hopefully we get some interesting talking points. So, I'm going to start today. So, John, you are in the hot seat. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
So, I know you're a Cubs fan, correct?
I guess I root for the Cubs of any baseball team, but I'm not the biggest fan. But
okay.
Yeah, I want them to win. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my question's still relevant.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about Wrigley Field? I know you've been there multiple times, but what's the thing that you walk in and you just go, man, I'm at Wrigley? What's magical?
The women. No, I'm dead serious. If you go to if you go to Wrigley Field, what a lot of people who have not been there don't understand is it is at a cross section of a very good area in the city with a lot of vibrant young people. So when you walk in, it's like a party with a baseball game going on, and afterwards is even better. But for me, it's like you walk in, you look around, you're like, are you they're for baseball, but they ain't there for baseball. They're just there to get down and have a few cocktails and as me and Travis say, how's it? Yeah, so
nothing to do with baseball.
Nah, I don't watch the game.
You're watching the scenery.
I like the scenery, baby. And trust me, I ain't looking for the green kind.
That's classic. All right, number 2. I know we've talked about cars off and on.
Yeah.
And you're I don't know if I classify you as a supercar nut, but you like cars and
yes.
trucks. But what is the dream car for you? What's the one you either had on your wall or the one that you probably could buy now, but you choose not to, but one day you might buy?
Right. Well, I think that's very important to live below your means. But I believe, what's the name of it? But it's I believe Aston Martin's, the newer Aston Martin models. They're absolutely beautiful. They're more sporty. Sure, they're not a Rolls-Royce Phantom, whatever. But the Aston Martin, I want to say it's Raptor. I think it's called a Raptor.
Okay.
It's just, it reminds me of a work of art. It's just awesome. Yeah.
Cool. So you like sports cars over sedans then? Or not?
No, not necessarily true, but I just think it's such a beautiful car that if I was to drop $250,000 on a car, I think that would be it, just because it's like It's like driving beauty, you know? It's awesome. It's like driving art.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And lastly, of all time, even as a kid up to now, what have been your favorite pair of shoes?
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be Reebok, just because that's our sponsor.
Because we're all being more human.
Yeah, but like even
I would
from
say,
being young. Good.
I remember when I was, 3rd or 4th grade, like, I was like, what do I gotta do to get these Force, Nike Force Barclays? They literally were like, I remember, dude, I was like literally they were like $180 or $190 back then, bro.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, you gotta get this on your report card. And I was the worst student ever. But if
you'd never do it.
But if I wanted something, I knew how to get it, right? So I was like, all right, I'll cheat or I'll do some work, and I'll figure it out. And I figured it out, man. And I remember taking them out of the box and just like sleeping, right? I would go to sleep. I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And I would have them face. So when I open up in the morning, I'd see them. Yeah, like I loved them, dude.
But you know what I like, though? That was a major goal, and you did whatever you needed work-wise to make it happen.
Right.
I mean, I think that's just showing that
drive. Knows, baby.
I love it. All right, your turn. My turn, I mean.
Okay. Cory Gregory is entering the hot seat.
Yeah.
Cory, if you could be any position in any of our armed forces, what would it be?
So I actually contemplated being a Marine multiple times prior to finding that I could have a future in fitness, because there was about a year's time that I don't talk about a lot, but I stayed at home where all my friends went to college. And I worked at the sawmill. That was before I got the job at the coal mine. That's really kind of changed my whole, kind of existence, being able to have the money to move away.
Sure.
And I was so unhappy, meaning like I didn't like where I was working, not because it was a bad job, but just because I just didn't like doing that type of work. I liked coal mining much better for some reason. I was going to community college. I only had like one friend that was still at home. Like I just felt out of place, man, for about a year. And so I was really contemplating. Now, my grandfather, which I've talked about multiple times, is a Navy guy. I really don't like water that much. Like I like water, but I'm not that good at swimming, so that really didn't. But the Marines that I knew that were older in my town had such the way they popped their chest out. It's just the way they carried themselves. And I think that to me, the challenge of a boot camp of Marine. And I know they're all hard, but that just seemed like I was drawn the closest to that. So and I think it's because I'm a maniac in the gym, so that's why I think I was interested in that. So if I would have had to choose, I would have chose probably to be a Marine for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Number 2, what was the last video game you played, not with your children, on your own?
Like just for fun?
Like literally you played. Like not with your kids, like you said, I'm going to sit down and play this.
Oh no, I got it. Super Mario 1.
Oh dude, that's dude.
No.
That's like the Duck Hunter days.
Dude, yeah, no.
Stuff.
I have on one of the gaming systems that we have where you have all the Mario Brothers.
Yes.
And I literally it was on because of the kids, but they weren't around. They were gone. They left the TV on, and I actually sat down and played Super Mario 1, and I've still never beat it. That just goes to show how bad I am at video games. But I probably played it for a half hour and actually really enjoyed it because it takes me back to us being 10 years old or whatever.
Sure.
So it's pretty cool. So yeah, Super Mario 1.
Okay. Last question. Number 3. Besides making money, building business, and helping people, what is the one thing you want to do or be known for?
Ooh. think that, I talk about it all the time about changing generations of my family, but it's really like, I want to be known as like the dude from where I'm from that everybody's like trying to like get out and be like to some degree. And I feel like to this point in my career, I'm starting to see some of that come from the Ohio Valley, that they know Cory's from there. And because I had a relevant business that the kids like could see with all the UFC stuff and the stuff on social, and most of it's because of social media. You got to remember, like, literally Dean Martin was the only guy that I looked kind of up to in a way, because he's the only guy, and I'm obviously not even near close to that, but just the only person of like that I knew like got out of Steubenville and did something.
What about Jimmy the Greek?
Like,
what about Jimmy the Greek?
Jimmy the Greek too, and I do remember Jimmy the Greek. And there's some other small sports stars that played, double A and triple A, and like some guys I knew growing up, or that were older than me. But I want to be known for the guy that like the kid even 10 years from now is like, I heard about this guy. He went to my high school, or he's from the area, and he worked with Arnold and blah, blah, blah. So like
legacy stuff.
Yeah, it's legacy stuff, man. Because I think like that's how you start to change the mindset of an area. Because then it feels like they feel like they can feel you because they know you went through the same. It's just like dudes from the inner city, like, man, that dude's from my hood, and he went out and made all that money, and he's either playing ball or started a business or whatever. It's the same kind of mentality, man. Like, I want people from my area, the Ohio Valley, to like rep that I'm from there. That would mean a lot.
Sure.
So
good stuff, man.
All right, time for Johnny's inbox. Cha-ching! I don't know why I made that noise.
Yeah, I don't know why the hell you made that noise. That is not what my inbox sounds like.
Maybe because you're cash money, John. I don't know. Go ahead.
Birdman did call me the other
day. Yeah. He actually called me once, though. We'll tell that story another time. I didn't make that noise.
So, first off, I want to show this picture. I don't know if people can read it, right? It's a picture of a kid from Snapchat.
We put it on Instagram too, right?
Yeah, it's on our Instagram. And basically, he looks like he got hit with a baseball bat to the head. I really want to know the injury he took. But
no, I think he got his wisdom teeth out, Johnny.
Oh, was it wisdom teeth?
Yeah, I think he got his wisdom. I'm pretty sure he got his wisdom teeth out.
That's painful shit.
And then they tried to give him the script. So go ahead.
Very good. Okay, we're all over that. And he just captioned his picture with told the doc to keep the painkillers, #time to get tougher. And all that is for Cory and myself is it's just an example that there's some traction is beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because we have two pillars that before I close this, I'm going to reiterate, and I'll reiterate it every episode, because we are fighting this war. But to see somebody do that, this is somebody who has a 50% chance, if he takes that script, of becoming an addict. And if you become an addict, you have a high percentage chance of dying. So I'm extremely proud of this. And let's give everybody his handle to give him some respect. His handle is on Instagram. It is at CJGEER12. Guys like him are guys who literally start a movement, and they give kerosene to the fire that me and Cory are trying to spark, right?
Yep.
So this dude, CJGEER12, just poured a little bit of kerosene on it, and I can guarantee you that we're going to see more of CJ Jeers, and it's because he had the courage to be the first public one. We also had a private one who basically told the doctor to fuck off and keep the Percocet, and he's a boss too. But I can't tell you how proud I am. So proud of this kid. It's unbelievable.
Cool.
So kudos to you. And Cory, let's give him a golf clap.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Golf clap. Okay.
I mean, here's the thing, John. Like, basically with just those two guys,
Man.
that just the percentage that they could get hooked is actually dramatically high. So it's like
one out of two of them would have gotten hooked. Garrett, just the numbers say that.
Yeah, I mean that's big, dude. That's real big.
It's huge. And guys, before I kind of close out the inbox, our two pillars are, and we have a hashtag thanks to him now, and the hashtag is hashtag time to get tough, are if you have any dental procedure, you will not take heroin. And heroin is Vicodin. Heroin is Norco. Heroin is any narcotic painkiller. Any dental procedure, not allowed. If you break your leg, if you break your ankle, if you break your arm, if you break your clavicle, unless you got folded up in a car accident, not allowed. This is heroin. It's not allowed. The second pillar is in life, it's very important to respect others' boundaries. It's extremely important. Without it, you won't have a relationship. Because we are dealing with an epidemic and a war that we are losing severely, and we're losing lives by the minute, we're crossing boundaries. If you see a friend, if you see a loved one, if you see a mother, if you see a brother taking this shit, taking this poison, right? These narcotic painkillers and these opioids, you take them from them, you contact their doctor, and you wean them off them. Because nobody needs these unless they're dying of cancer and they need to live in comfort for a month or two, or they got folded up in a car accident. Okay? Those are the two pillars. What I'm going to close out with is a lot of our IG followers talk about Prescription Thugs, the documentary done by Chris Bell.
Yep.
Chris Bell, Smelly Bell, friends of Cory, and Cory connected me with Chris Bell because we both are ex-addicts, and we had I think we had a 1 hour talk. Number one, Chris Bell, the filmmaker for Prescription Thugs, will be coming on as a guest of our show.
Yeah.
Not next week, but the following week. And number two, this guy, man, he lives it, right? Like, when it was my first time talking to him, he didn't know me, I didn't know him. And that's why he's going to be such a great guest, is he lives it, and he's so real. If you saw the film, plug your ears if you haven't seen the film. I'm going to give a spoiler. Okay. This guy came out after preaching against addiction. At the end of his film, he said, I got to tell everybody, I'm a liar. I'm an addict. I've been an addict this whole film. I'm ashamed of myself. And that kind of honesty is courageous. And that kind of courage is what will make an impact in this fight that we're fighting. And we have many more battles. But Chris Bell will be on our show. Very thankful for that. And I think that is going to impact a lot of lives and continue to, allow us to help people.
Yeah, man, connecting with Chris is going to be dope. I mean, I've known those guys off and on for a little while, and I think, I knew you guys would chat it up like that. And like he said, he's like, I'm busy as hell, but I've never asked those guys to do anything. So it's like I said, I need you to call John because I know you guys will hit it off. So I think it's a start of a good relationship.
Absolutely, man.
I think it's going to be real.
It's good, and we always like to lighten the mood with a double bicep toe spike.
Toe spike, huh?
Toe spike, dude. That's my favorite move. Toe spike, bro. I mean, come on. Who doesn't know how to do a toe spike?
Nice.
A little fitness time with at Gregory Fitness.
At Cory G Fitness.
Hey, sorry. At Cory G. My bad.
That's okay.
At Cory G Fitness.
Yeah, so you know what? Yesterday, this is Monday, but on Sunday, I attended the Cincinnati Reds, Seattle Mariners game, repping the new Reds hat I picked up right now for you guys on YouTube. And we took my son's baseball team, so there was a couple. I had 6 kids in my car, and then the other car had mostly adults, like 2 kids. I don't know how I got.
You're like, how did I get stuck with that, man?
Yeah, well, I will tell you, this is completely off subject, but what's interesting is I let one of them DJ, and it was intriguing to see the wide range of what 11-year-old.
What do they play, bro? Is it like EDM?
No, it was all over the place. That's why I was gonna kind of mention it was like literally the one kid was like, "Yeah, I know all the words to Big Papa because my mom listened to it." Like, so it went from like literally they're like go to the YouTube Biggie or Big Papa Clean, like so it was like Megan Trainor. To listen to Big Papa, to this Peter Pan song that's popular right now, to Flow Rider, of course, like This Is My House. It was, and then at some point they had the Barney theme song because they were clowning. It was pretty funny, dude. So anyway, what I was gonna say is I actually saw 2 members at the ballpark, which was really cool. I was just walking around, and I think people saw on my Snapchat that I was at the ballpark, and a couple of my members from the website walked up, and we got a chance to chat, and I did a quick video with the one guy. I asked him how he liked the site, and we talked about anabolic fasting. And one thing I'll tell you about is I was at the ballpark, and I was able to eat just fine. And so a lot of people think that if they're out someplace that they have to screw up. And sure. I'll tell you what I ate. I went down, everybody's getting, whatever they're getting. And I was like, you know what? I want a brat, which is a higher fat. Obviously it's not a high quality meat, but I ate a brat without the bun, and I got a huge bag of peanuts, and I sat there and shelled peanuts and did just fine and grabbed a water, and that's what I ate for lunch today. And it won't change my physique any. I'm not going to gain any weight from it. It was a higher fat option. It was the best option at the ballpark. And I didn't feel like I was like slighted at all because I ate an entire bag of peanuts and enjoyed myself, because what I probably should have done was yesterday was kind of my cheat day where I had cookies and beer and everything, and I had to eat good today. So it's just one of those things, like, it's always a choice. There's always something if you're educated enough about what to eat. And I will tell you, if you're out in a situation, always go towards higher fat, meaning like you're at a lunch and they've got a cheese tray and then they've got some meats, like wrap some turkey up in those cheese cubes. Like, there's always something there that's not high carbohydrate based that you can get. So I would just say, like, in your nutrition, just be aware that there is an option. If you choose not to eat that way, that's okay too. But in reality, like, don't give an excuse that, I couldn't do it. There's always a way. Since I was at Red Stadium today, I was just fine. I didn't feel like it killed anything I had going on, and everybody around me didn't care. It was no big deal. So very nice. That's my little fitness tip for today. And I think we're going to finish up, John, with a really strong subject that we both chatted about off air, and that would be the bubble, which I believe is getting ready to burst extremely soon, and people are getting more aware of it, is of college debt. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna give a disclaimer here that neither of us graduated from college, so we're gonna feel really strong about one way, and I'm gonna try to play a little devil's advocate to try to make the conversation relevant to a guy that might think differently. Sure. But I'll let you start it, and then I'll work off of you. So, the bubble of college debt, John Fosco, go.
Yeah, the bubble of college debt. Honestly, when we were discussing it before we got on, the one kind of comparison that just popped in my head is, well, why do we have a prescription painkiller problem? Well, a large part is because we just accept what doctors give us, okay? Well, students just accept the fact that tuition is $100,000, $150,000, $200,000. They just accept it. And that money to them that it costs, it's not real. Just like the heroin in that bottle isn't real, right? Because that's what you do, quote unquote.
Yes.
But I would say the dangers are both severe in very different ways. Because here's what we have to understand, guys. We always talk about applied fields. We always talk about lawyers, doctors, engineers, computer programmers. If you're going in debt to get a skill set that you can walk out in and get a well-paying job, or even get a job, that's fine. It's great to get educated. It's a great experience. It's going to make you more well-rounded. A lot of people are not disciplined enough to self-educate, right? But if you're just getting a degree or if you're just going to college to have fun and get a degree, well, the first challenge you're going to have when you come out is getting a job. When you get a job, I will guarantee you this: that job will not pay you enough to cover living on your own, a home, a self, all the bills that go with that. So that job that you got because of your college degree doesn't pay you enough. You tell me how you're going to pay down the debt that's accruing interest over time and just like snowballing like a freaking behemoth while you're trying to figure out how many more roommates you need to make the goddamn rent. Okay? This is something, if you don't think about it or if you shove it in the damn closet, it's going to come out and hit you harder than Mike Tyson ever could. You need to think about it now because the money's real, the debt's real, and if your credit gets slaughtered, you can't do shit in this country. So you have to think about what you're doing at school. And if you don't know, stop going to school. Stop it. Because you can always go back. And you can always borrow money to go back when you know what you want to do. But until then, going in debt, guys, I'm warning you, it's going to come out of the closet like a monster and attack you.
So I would say that, remember, I just spoke about how that 1 year I stayed at home, I was pretty miserable. And really that started out by I did not want to take on the debt to go to the University of Cincinnati with some of my friends. That would have been about, by the time I paid for school and room and board, about $18,000, John, for a year. Instead, I chose to stay home, which I was salty about, but I knew it was the right thing, and pay $2,000, which I could afford by my job that I worked, I paid for myself, to go to school. And I will tell you, if I would have just caved, went and paid the money, went to get a degree that I really didn't even know, like I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew exercise, but it would have been, I would have been taking prerequisites and spending $18,000 a year that, I would have been in some serious debt. It would have been about 80 grand by the time I went and got a bachelor's degree if I would have, stayed that way. Instead, I stayed home. I then got another job, saved about 20 some $1,000 in the opposite direction, actually in my bank account. Found that I only needed a 1 year degree, which was only $2,700, wrote a check for it, went to school a year, and then started my business. And so I will tell you that I had friends that got out of college that were $80,000, $100,000 in debt just because they thought that was okay, and then started a job making $35,000 a year. And so it's one of those things, like, you just need to know that, in my opinion, if there's an option that you can go 2 years of community college and then you go 2 years of the bachelor's, 2 years of the big school, like you got to strategize here. Just don't go all 4 years to the big college because that's what all your friends are doing and their dad and mom might be paying for it. Like, if it's on you,
right,
you need to have this is a business, right? This is your life as a business. Like, you have to have I had a strategy on how do I end up with either a job or my own business, but not in debt like I have a house payment. And that's a real thing. And you might never climb out of that.
Well, and here's the thing. That's why Cory and I always talk about searching for your passion. Because if you search for your passion, number one, you probably don't need to look far. Right? You probably know what your passion is. If you know what your passion is, right, you may not need to go to school. Cory's passion was fitness. Yeah, there's certs. If Cory didn't get one damn cert in the world, it wouldn't have mattered. Okay? Yeah. He would have opened up a gym. He would have trained. You don't got to show people your cert as you're about to train them, okay? That's his passion. Me, I knew I needed to make deals. Right? So I said, give me the first job where I can make deals. I went in there. I was making 100 G in 6 months. Okay? So when we talk about passion is kind of the counterbalance to college. And if your passion is becoming a lawyer, then college is for you. If your passion's becoming a doctor, if your passion's becoming an engineer, man, you have to be educated in those fields in college. But if you don't know what your passion is, no. If you see, here's what's crazy, right? Journalism. This is a tricky one. Journalism used to be one where you'd have to go to college. Now, any Joe Blow and the richest people in journalism just started a blog. Yeah. So if you want to write. Yeah. You don't have to take on debt to do it. Now, you may want to go to school, or like Cory said, go to a community college because this is your money that you're taking on. But guys, that's why the passion is everything, because your passion will tell you whether you need school or not.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, when I would skip class, that was on me because I was the one paying for it. Like, I had ownership in it. Like, when it's just, look, I understand people say that college is the best time of their life. It's like 4 years to screw off, right? And I get it. But it's not worth, like, $200,000 in debt or $100,000 in debt.
I had some really good times, and I didn't go to college.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm not even, and like John says, I'm not deterring college. Like, if my kids want to do a profession, they have to go to college. That's fine. But I'm also going to teach them that Daddy didn't have to go to college. Like, there's another way too. But if you sign up for that way, you got to be an animal.
You know what I want to call bullshit on? I want to call bullshit on something.
What's that?
People who want to be businessmen, right? Businessman, I got to go to college and major in business. Well, here's my question for you. What the fuck is business?
Yeah.
What is it? What are you going to school for? You don't know, do you? You just think business is something with a damn name. Let me tell you what business is. Business is waking up in the morning with a headache, and you better hope that you're so passionate about the business you're doing that day that headache goes away because there's a problem that needs to be fixed. And you better be able to negotiate and get along with people and do all these things that me and Cory talk about every week as an entrepreneur, because business is a bullshit title. Now, sales, I've always said this. I don't know why they don't teach sales as a major. If they do, then tell me about it. Because sales is a skill set that you can take anywhere and make a ton of money. A ton of it. But business? What are you going to tell me how to balance a freaking QuickBooks or an Excel spreadsheet? What the hell?
Yeah.
What's that?
I took one business class in community college, and they were trying to teach us how to run a restaurant, which I kind of, let's put it this way. I went twice. I skipped twice because I was so bored. I went back one time, and then I was like, you know what? I ain't learning shit in here. I'm out. And I just dropped it or whatever. And so I was like, and this is going to sound fucking terrible, but I was like, if this guy's so good at business, why is he teaching this class?
Boom! Boom!
But when I say that, I would say it with the preference. I don't know if that's the right context word.
Preface.
Yeah, preface. That's kind of a shitty statement because he likes to teach business because he's hoping to get new people into the business world. That's
but Cory, I think your first instinct is right. Because no. Here's what a lot of professors do. They talk about business, this, that, and the other. Want to know what they did? They got a degree, and then they started teaching. Well, teaching doesn't teach you how business actually works. Teaching teaches you how business is supposed to work. If business worked how it's supposed to work, every day we wouldn't be solving fucking problems.
Business is problem solving and creativity and vision and decision making and situational awareness. It's got a lot of traits that you got to have, and that's what makes it like chess.
Cory, you know what? You know what I would challenge? I would challenge, if you want to be a businessman, major in psychology, not business. Because honestly, understanding the brain and understanding everyone else's brain To me, that's my style of business. Even when I try to communicate with you or anybody, I try to okay, they're probably going to be in this mood. He's getting back from a baseball game. You have to think how you communicate with. You got to be a chameleon. That's what you have to be a chameleon. Okay, and that is understanding the brain, not how to fill out a damn spreadsheet.
Yeah, I've always told guys when they ask me what to major in if they want to do business like I do, I never tell them MBA. I tell them marketing, communications, psychologies came up. It's never, I honestly, I mean, it'd be interesting to see like if you and I, okay, we're the same exact people. Right. So you don't change anything. Same experiences, same everything, but we had 4 years of Wharton business. Before
we'd be lazier and we'd be more entitled. We'd think that people owe us something.
But you didn't let me finish. But I know that's your answer anyway. Before you started MMA Stop, or before I started, T3 personal training and then Muscle Farm, like, I guess we couldn't be the same people, right?
Wait, what do you mean we couldn't be the same people?
I'm meaning like if we had that experience, you do think we'd be different starting those businesses? Like it'd almost be impossible to be.
It'd be impossible. Just because everyone who walks out of Wharton Business says, I graduated from Wharton Business. And then the CEO or the VP who's interviewing says, oh, really? Why don't you fucking tell me something now? Because guess what? I saw it on your damn resume. What else you got? Well, I graduated from Wharton. I don't give a fuck. What can you do? What can you do? Right? I mean, what can you do? Or if you got a scrappy kid who comes in who says, listen, I took this job, I smashed it. I took this job, I smashed it. I may not know your business, but I guarantee you I'll be here longer than everybody else. I'll learn it faster. I'll be a fly on the wall, and I'll look you dead in your eye, and I'll promise you that I'll make you money. That's the guy I want.
Yeah. That sounded very Italian.
Forget about it.
No, but you know what though? It's like I always try to think about because we're not the high percentage, John.
Yeah,
the high percentage.
Yeah, we're the exception, not the rule.
So, and that's why I'm like, a lot of the people that listen to this podcast or have been followers on social media of mine for a long period of time are the kids that are in college. Some of them still trying to find their passion that are, they're looking to us because they're a little lost maybe.
I think more people need to give up the fantasy of being an entrepreneur because it is so hard. Unless you are a battle-tested guy who listens to what me and Cory says and is like, dude, I could take that on, go home at night and not be stressed. What you have to remember about being an entrepreneur is this. The day ends. Work ends, and then you have to sit on your couch or on your bed or with your wife or with your girl, and you have to be able to live peacefully. Entrepreneurship comes with the most stress in the world, and like we talked about last week, the elixir to that is the passion and the vision that you have, so you can sit on your couch and be like, yeah, I'm cool. And literally, and you can be cool. But let me tell you, 1 or 2% of our population could handle that kind of mental stress. So I say, go work for somebody. Go get a job. And guess what? You can always become an entrepreneur. You can always become an entrepreneur. Always,
yeah. I think that here's my personal opinion. If you believe you're an entrepreneur, and you go work for somebody and you sit in a cubicle for a little while, it'll almost give you anxiety to the point where it'll push you into making something dramatic happen in your life. Because I will tell you, I would go fucking crazy.
Well, Cory, why would you? I know why you would go crazy. And I know why I would go crazy. Because we would believe that we could do what the business is doing better and more efficiently. So we would have to get the hell out. We couldn't just go through the motions. We would say, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? That's what entrepreneurs do. That's why we cannot sit in a cubicle.
And this is the difference between this is very simply true. A Muscle Farm, it started to become where I had to go through the motions, and I lasted 2 weeks. Everybody, I lasted 2 weeks. I woke up and said, this is not for me anymore. Right. I don't care if I started it. I don't care how big it is.
Right.
I'm lying to myself if I stay in this situation because I cannot go through the motions.
Cory, I like what you said about lying to yourself, guys. And if there's one thing, this whole, I know all of this is confusing for you guys coming up. If there's one thing you should follow, just like Cory said, it's the truth. And you always know what the truth is. You can hide from it, you can push it away, you can be in denial. But the truth, if you follow it like Cory followed it, Cory knew the truth was he couldn't do that shit. He couldn't do it. So he followed the truth, and he's in the right place. If you follow the truth, you will always be in the right place.
John, I say we wrap it up with that, man. That was mic drop stuff. All
right. Here, wait, hang on. Let me.
That's my stress. Hey, you're talking about stress ball. I got my stress ball as you're talking about stress.
Yeah.
Somebody bought me as a joke.
Yeah.
So first of all, hey, I know you're about to be done listening to the podcast. We really need to give us a 5-star rating, positive comment. Tell your friends, text your friend the link to the YouTube channel. Subscribe.
You gotta subscribe, guys. It's how we keep bringing the fire, man. It's how we keep adding to this. It's how we get the Chris Bells of the world on the show. It's how we get, man, we might even be getting The Rock on the show soon.
Oh,
so I wasn't supposed to say that, okay? So listen, we need you to subscribe because we need to legitimize ourselves. And you guys are doing a great job. You're doing a great job. We have huge numbers. But Cory, a lot of people, brother, have been telling us why they are on a new level. And tomorrow at, was it 5 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah, about dinner time, we'll say.
5 p.m. Eastern, we are going to name the winner and tell you guys who actually is on a new level. And I promise you this, we'll tweet out or we'll put on IG a clip of both me and Cory dancing, saying that person's name to I'm on a new level. You heard it here first.
That's a lot of pressure, John.
Hey, Cory said he won 2 dance contests. Guys, let's put him to the limit because you guys saw me dance last show, and dude, I was smooth. I got like 400 girls messaging me after that dance.
All right, wrap it up, John.
So listen. I think we're all on a new level. I know I'm on a new level. I know I bought a new shovel. I know Cory bought a new shovel. And listen, you guys listen to Activ8 Radio. Thank you so much. We're Activ8 Media. And check in Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will be dancing and announcing to find out who is on a new level. Activ8 out!
Peace.